This is a Fatal 4 podcast.
Meacha looking for 8 in the feet again. Didn't get all of it. She didn't get all of it.
Welcome to Didn't Get All of It, the only wrestling podcast that matters. And look at us showing up on a holiday week. This week on the show, we have a ton to talk about, oddly enough. That said, nothing really good, which is kind of rare. But this week we'll be talking about what happened on Smackdown, Raw, Dynamite, and previewing World's End. Plus there's a little bit of news. But before that, let's get to the intros. I'm Paul Griffin, and joining me is the rest of the Merry Christmas Fatal 4, including B-Rob. What? What was that? The B stands for Blanta Claus.
Nah, it's my smoke detector. I gotta change the batteries.
I can't believe you keep tagging us in all of those things now.
I know, because
Cody, who is
I'm
also
hyper
here.
aware of it now.
I cannot believe that is a stereotype. That
And it's accurate as fuck.
It's not like a good stereotype where it's like, oh, we all like good food. It's these guys can't change their fucking batteries.
Yeah, and it's sad because like I got a homeboy that does music, you know, I could say on a professional level, right? And he has a song that I love so much. The artist's name is Sir John Lee. That's Jon. Sir John Lee.
Sir John
Yeah,
Lee.
exactly.
He always typing. He always typing in the Discord.
But he has a EP. I think EP is a short one, right, Cody or Noah? EP is a short form album or is it LP?
Yeah. Extended play. Long play.
Okay. All right.
Wait, EP
So he
is
has
extended. Hang on, EP is short, but it's extended.
Yeah.
What?
So I hear you typing.
What's LP?
Long play, I think.
Oh, why wouldn't it be little play? And that's the one that's shorter.
But anyway,
Play was actually a show hosted by Adam Sessler that aired on Tech TV. And was a show about video games.
so
It started as
I have
extended play. Then it became
so
X-Play.
I have a little bit of a homework assignment for anybody that has the time to do so. So he's one of my favorite artists that I actually know, Sir John Lee. He has an EP called I think Melancholy, and he has a song on there called Digital Pyramids. Is one of my favorite songs that he's done, and I think it's probably one of my favorite songs like ever. So if you listen to it, because he got a lot of production value in it, he uses a lot of different effects, samples, all kinds of shit, right? If you listen to this song with a good pair of headphones or just pay attention, you will hear the smoke detector beep in his recording. And I don't know if it's intentionally, because he does weird shit like that.
Intentionally. I thought you said his name was Sir John Lee.
Oh, God. High five. Cody's here, everybody.
Shout out to all the new
Yeah,
listeners
hey,
who
everybody.
haven't canceled us yet.
Hey, everybody. Happy Chinooka.
What?
I have no idea what Chinooka is, but happy Chinooka.
Okay. Is that something new that you found on TikTok?
Somebody, I'm not explaining it. Somebody knows. What I'm
Also here,
What is happening?
Noah with the pots and pans in the background.
Is that you can hear that? Sorry, my wife is baking a cake in the background.
Clanging and banging, the wife always in the kitchen. Noah runs a tight ship.
Yeah,
Also,
he does.
I talked earlier because B-Rob.
Noah runs a tight arc.
Yeah.
Yep.
She's in the soup kitchen.
That's the tried and true. That's
Got to feed the animals.
the
2 women in the kitchen at all times.
That's the joke every time. I wasn't sure if I was allowed to talk because B-Rob introduced me, so I was like, I don't know what to do. I'm supposed
That's
to
true.
talk.
You can't talk unless spoken to.
That's how podcasts work.
The rules
That's
of
how I
Noah's Ark.
understood
Did you guys have a good Christmas?
Yeah,
Noah?
I got too many Ferrero Rocher. I have a giant pallet. I think there's 47 Ferrero Rocher still on this thing. I've eaten 3 of them. They're all the hazelnut flavor. I don't know what to do.
I would say
Take forever to eat.
eat 47 more.
I need to take him.
While-
I need to take this entire
While we're
palette
here.
to the movie theater. Just like sneak it into the movie theater and just. Can you imagine seeing a guy in the movie theater with an entire palette of Ferrero Rocher, just like chowing down, watching Nosferatu?
If I could, he would look just like you.
It could be me. It could be me.
You could just save them for Halloween.
Nah, I don't think you should.
Do kids like Ferrero Rocher?
They
probably
would if you
true.
give it to them for free.
How many times have I said Ferrero Rocher? It's starting to
A lot.
Shout out to our sponsor, Ferrero Rocher.
Are they listening? I mean,
I
we
don't
can't
know.
get a sponsorship.
I'll look into it.
Cody, how was your Christmas?
It was fine. It was okay.
Yeah.
Mine was
Sorry, I just got distracted because Noah just turned his camera on and was
What?
showing
yeah.
something.
He was showing
What
us
was that?
cakes.
Yeah, I
He
got
was showing
cake
us his cakes.
With his cakes.
Mine
Fleshy.
was exhausting because Friday we went to Charlotte for the day to scope out the house that we're getting next year, and then Saturday we drove to Dallas to do family stuff, which lasted the whole weekend, and then Monday we drove back, and then Christmas Eve we had to do stuff, and then Christmas Day we did stuff, and now I'm fucking exhausted.
That's a whole
So
lot
I'm
of
going to
stuff.
podcast forever.
Mhm.
You
Yeah.
usually do stuff on Christmas, right? Or is that just Thanksgiving?
Thanksgiving I try not to do anything. The only thing I want to do on
Yeah.
Thanksgiving is podcast and watch the parade.
Yeah, parade's the best part.
Yeah. My son came home from his military training, so that was a thing.
Nice.
How'd
How's
that
that
go?
Well, he's not done yet. He shipped off at a weird time. So when he left, he went and he had to complete a prep course and do some testing first, and then they was going to ship him off to boot camp and into his job training school. But since they sent him to his prep course and it completed before they had a class to pick him up to take him off to his basic training, it fell into the holiday season. So they was like, fuck this, go home. And then after the holidays, you can come back and we can start then. So he is in the military officially, but he has not completed all of his training yet. He won't do that until he goes back in January after the New Year.
He wasn't hoping to be like doing a tour of like an exotic, fun country or anything, was he?
Based on his job that he chose himself, which, boy, he said his first duty station has a high probability of being Korea.
Oh, they're going to need all the soldiers they can when we invade Canada next with the next president.
Yeah.
Oh, so it won't be that lovely. Korea's probably fun though.
Yeah, Mrs. B. Rob was stationed there when she was in the Army. So she had a whole bunch of stories to tell him. She also gave him some tips and tricks, and she ordered and demanded him to send her some recipes back from Korea.
Is he gonna get to meet like Jungkook?
Dude, you was just saying all kinds of crazy shit that I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Isn't he in which band is
Is
he
that
in?
a Star Wars character?
No,
Could be.
BTS.
That's right. Boys the Skinny.
Boys the Skinny. That's you should have led with that. Then I would have known what you were talking about.
He could also be a Star Wars character that runs a junkyard.
I think he's one of the ones in the army out there, right?
I've got a question.
They all are in the Army because all of the citizens of that country have to do a mandatory 2 years.
No, but like some of them are like in it right now.
I think they all went at the same time. I thought that's why they disbanded.
Oh,
for a
are they?
bit.
Oh, okay. Oh, cool. All right.
I don't
They
know.
should have stayed together in the army.
Well, yeah, that's what I thought. I thought they all
How
went
are
at
you
the
going
same
to fight
time.
a boy band?
I've got a question. How
They
are
can
those
harmonize
boys?
at the gun range?
How are those boys so skinny if they're always singing about butter?
That's a good question. Ozempic?
Huh? I mean, the butter lubes the loins and everything. It just passes right through. 'em, I
Butter
guess. I don't know.
lubes the
Paula Dean
loins.
That
That
lost
is
a lot
not
of
a
weight.
sentence I was prepared to hear today. Peter.
Paula
You're
Dean
welcome.
used a lot of butter, and then she lost a ton of weight after saying the N-word. So maybe they're just really racist.
Yeah. I mean, the stress did that.
Maybe Boys the Skinny are super racist.
Let's hope not. That would be very bad.
Speaking of super racist, Cody, do you want to talk
What?
about the news?
Wait a minute. No, you talking about your new Kanye merch.
Oh,
I didn't get a new Kanye merch.
I hope not.
Oh, you didn't? You don't know? Well, your ass better call somebody.
I don't think I did.
Well, yeah, look up in our Discord, which you also can be a part of by going to fatal4pod.com. That's FOUR. And for what, $3 a month, get you exclusive access to our Discord. And for if you want to be really nice to us, you can get on the $5 tier. You get bonus episodes and bonus specials, which, you might be in store for pretty soon. Ain't that right, Paul?
I guess we could tell people about that. There's a ton of bonus content heading your way, like in the next week, because the year-end awards, the first annual Didn't Get All of It year-end awards will be out in your feed December 30th. That will be on everyone's feed for free. The best of 2024 year-end awards. If you would like to hear us dabble in the worst of, that will cost you a hefty $3 at the Patreon, because on December 31st, the worst of 2024 will be available. And finally, the other show, which we have not scheduled yet, but it is happening. All 6 of the Fatal 4 will be talking about whatever we want to talk about from the year 2024 on a big super podcast coming to the Fatal 4 Plus tier, which is the $5 tier, probably in the next week or so.
Mm-hmm.
Since we're all off, do what?
Release the worst show on my birthday.
Yes.
Well, it's perfect, isn't it?
God damn it.
So yeah, something to look forward to if you're into more content. Which, based on like my podcast feed this week, ain't nobody doing shit.
We are. We're committed.
Yeah,
to it.
we're doing it.
Yeah. Speaking of more content, you might be getting more WWE content, because some news that we were going to talk about was the fact that WWE, there's talks that they are considering making certain pay-per-views, or PLEs rather, 2-night events. They've already done it with WrestleMania. They've already done it with SummerSlam. The big talk is the possibility of the 2026 Royal Rumble being 2 nights.
Uh-huh.
How do we feel about that?
All right. So we had a semi-discussion about this in our private chat here, separate from the Discord, which you can be a part of by going to fatal4pod.com. That's FOUR.
They heard you the first time.
Hey, man, they might have hit skip somewhere, or just like
How
turn
dare
their head
you?
away.
Did
And
you skip?
I'm just saying, they might have turned their head and coughed and didn't hear
They
anything.
turned their head
I'm
away
sorry.
and their AirPods stopped playing the sound.
I don't know. They might have accidentally hit the, how you hit the little button on the side. I don't know. Something could have happened, but I had to say it again. You go to fatal4pod.com. That's FOUR. You can be a part of Patreon. But we had the mini conversation in the thing, and we didn't go too deep because I know we was going to talk about it on the show. So Royal Rumble was discussed as one of the potential ones that it can do 2 nights. So what I thought, as just my own personal thoughts or whatever, I put my own feeling into it or whatever. I ain't thinking about how much money they gonna fucking make and all kind of other bullshit like that. That doesn't, I don't care about that shit. But I mean, in the grand scheme of things, they got to make money to stay afloat so I can continue to watch and enjoy. Anyway, what I said was, hey, I think that would be cool. They can kind of make night 1 or night 2, which you can just vary them. Night 1, female Royal Rumble. And it can be, majority female card with a marquee male match in that. So it can kind of be like a ladies only show almost. And then you can just flip it and reverse it for the next night for the men, predominantly male card with a marquee female match. Now, 2 of the 4 of us didn't like that. And I would like for you to air your grievances, gentlemen.
Well, it's just bad business. I mean,
I don't think
Yeah,
women
see,
should be
I don't give a
wrestling at all.
fuck. Yeah, I don't give a fuck about business. I mean, they're not making me no money. They're just doing a thing that a hobby I like.
You'll get all. You got to break it up by talent, not by.
Yeah, I mean, I
all
get
women
that,
here, all
but
men there.
right.
Like WrestleMania is not all women on one night, all men on the other.
Yeah. Oh, I was just talking about
partially
for
why
this
it works.
particular one. Yeah.
The only
I
thing they would definitely need to split the Rumble matches just so that, you know,
Mm-hmm.
you can spread those out. Have a Rumble on night 1 and a Rumble on night 2 for sure. But I would not like segregate based on gender the rest of the card. Just whatever fits.
I didn't say
where it needs to
completely. Just throw some men talent in there, but like majority of more women's matches on that night because of the women's rumble.
I would like. Well, they're all going to be in the women's rumble. They can't have more matches that night.
I mean,
They're all gonna be in the match.
You have tag titles. You have a secondary title now, and you have a world title. You can make
And
some
all
shit
those
happen.
people are going to be in that match except for the world champion.
Well,
Sometimes the world champion's in that match.
I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility for them to do double and triple duty. I mean,
B-Rob, you're being a
it's
big
wrestling.
stinker on this. This is not a good idea.
No, it's you. You don't want women to have a platform.
I want them to be
chauvinist
part
pig.
of the show equally, not
Yeah,
separate.
That is equal.
No, that's equal but separate.
No, that don't make no sense. That's an oxymoron.
No.
Yeah, that's part of the problem with separate but equal. B-Rob, do we need to explain this to you?
No, you just worry about your bottom line and your money that they don't make you. This bullshit. I don't
Just
care.
worried about
Anyway,
making a good show. And
you're gonna watch it regardless.
I am.
It's the
but
same shit, just in different order.
I want them to make all the money possible because I don't want to tune in for the women's night and see a half-empty AEW size crowd.
Don't look at the crowd. Look at the matches.
If there's no crowd there, it won't be hard to look at them.
Just look at you're looking at wrestling. You ain't looking at the crowd attendance.
I sure am. That's why I stopped watching pro wrestling in 2020. If there's no crowd, there's no good show.
Yeah, but subjective. I mean, just like I'm there for the wrestling, not the crowd. I don't care. I just want the wrestling. But I mean, that's far from the point. But what about they talking about doing it for other programs as well? I think one that was mentioned was Money in the Bank. How do we feel about that?
Sure, that or Survivor Series makes sense.
Sure,
I don't care. Like
you mean like the main like the big shows? Survivor Series, SummerSlam, Royal Rumble. WrestleMania.
Those are
those make
ones.
sense.
Anything that you have like anchor matches attached to that you could do a War Games one night and a War Games the other night, which is probably better because when you have 2 War Games in one show, you notice that they repeat the same spots.
And I think
doing it.
Yeah, well, yeah, that too. I think we've gotten to a point to where, like, I mean, we already talked about this before. You can probably get rid of, they already have. Get rid of the Hell in the Cell shit. Bust it out for a special occasion. I think you can probably. I like the Money in the Bank pay-per-views, but I mean, I would be fine with it being limited to as an accoutrement to a bigger show. It shouldn't have it don't necessarily have to have its own thing. It can be a part of something like how it used to be. So, I mean, I don't know, but War Games, I think if it's not warranted, we don't need 2. I mean,
There
one,
shouldn't
if
be 2.
yeah, there shouldn't be 2 because like.
But if they are going to do 2, you know what you could do on night 1 could be like women's War Games, but the men in the men's War Games should have to do a traditional Survivor Series match to get the advantage in the War Games. So the sole Survivor team earns them a spot, and you get your old Survivor Series bullshit. That's so fun.
I do like that idea, but like even without the War Games bullshit, I think we should just get back to traditional Survivor Series.
Yeah, that'd be fine.
One day.
Noah, do you have any thoughts on women?
Have any thoughts on
I think we heard him earlier in the kitchen.
Yeah, they better be cooking.
They be making me delicious cake.
And serving it to you too.
Yeah, I mean, I think 2 nights makes sense for Royal Rumble. I saw in that, like, the rumors around that saying that they're also thinking about Money in the Bank, and I'm not as enthused about that. I think Money in the Bank is fine as one night.
Yeah, I don't want every PLE to turn into a 2-night event. Like, I already think Slam being 2 nights is stupid. It's just like I want to do other shit besides watch wrestling. There's too much fucking wrestling, and I don't need it to take up my whole weekend every time.
But you don't watch all of it, so it's fine, right?
I do watch all the WWE PLEs.
Yeah, well, that's the important stuff. Speaking of unimportant wrestling, I put in our note ROH talk, which is not something we've done here. And I think the reason I put it in had to do with the news about them trying to get a TV deal, which is why Athena is stuck there and why Jericho's there.
And that's a bad idea. But
I think that's a bad idea to give them a TV deal. I agree. But
no, not that.
I also think it's a bad idea to keep them there, thinking that will get them a TV deal, because that was the exact same thing they tried before when Chris Jericho was in Ring of Honor. And it didn't work.
I mean, he wasn't really there. He just kind of like did two things and dropped the title. Then it wasn't even on ROH TV, I don't think.
What does a TV deal do? Like, where do you put them? Do you put them on True TV? Do you put them on one of the TBSs? Like,
well, I mean,
who's this for?
For the people who like it. I mean, this is another thing about that. I mean, we talked about this at length, and we don't have to beat a dead horse. I don't give a fuck if it's on TV or not, because whoever wants to watch it is going to watch it. Like me, I subscribe to the $9.99 a month for the Honor Club. I get all the pay-per-views, which isn't many, but I get that. I get the archive. I get all that bullshit. It's because, either I want to watch it week to week or, stockpile it and go back and just browse through it. That's me. If you put it on TV and I got access to it, I'll watch it. If you don't like it, don't watch it.
The whole point of getting it on TV is to grow an audience and expand your base. But like, if you're they're not doing that with AEW.
Well, yeah. Well, AEW, I mean,
it's the same company, as you always say.
Yeah, I know. But like, we have a problem here too. Because you have people like you who are like, I'm not saying you specifically, but like, we've had this conversation. That's why I say you specifically. But it's just like, all right, AEW, yeah, it's the same company. But as soon as the ROH motherfucker pop up with or without belt, why is this motherfucker on my TV? Why is he over here? Why he ain't in ROH? And then we got a whole nother problem with that shit.
I can't wait for them to get a TV deal so I can say that for 2 hours. Say, why is this motherfucker on my TV? They shouldn't be here.
But no, if they get a TV deal, you won't watch it. So, I mean, what's the point?
I would watch it, though. But the thing is, like, how do they separate themselves from every other brand that's on TV?
I mean, have you been watching now?
Have I been watching?
Like, serious ROH, like, serious question. Like, have you seen any clips? Have you?
Nothing recently. Just, I've seen a few entrances and stuff where I'm like, same production team. But
I mean, it is the same company. But like, watching it, because I've watched the week-to-week show and everything or whatever. They got some cool stuff going on over there. Athena has been killing it for the past 2 years and something. And like,
I guess that's a good thing. And good women's wrestling is the way they can separate themselves from AEW.
Yeah,
I mean, drawing in, because you talked about them using Chris Jericho and her as a draw. Athena ain't a draw. She's been their champion for 2 years. Nobody gives a shit. Like, what are we doing?
Well, people give a shit. It's just certain people don't give a shit.
The executives assigning TV deals don't give a shit.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's the factor. So it's just like, who knows in that arena or whatever. I solely think that, they should get Athena out of there and get her on the AEW television stuff. But at the same time, look at what they're doing with the women on the AEW main roster right now. And where does she fit? I mean, oh yeah, make her kill Mercedes. They're not going to do that.
They could, though. That'd be cool.
They could, but they're not going to do that.
And then that would happen on Collision or something, and you never see it.
Then they got the shit going on with Mariah May and this whole thing with the rebrand of the timeless Tony gimmick with the Rockstar Tony gimmick. They're not going to do that shit with the world title. So, I mean, she's just going to be sitting there having decent to above average matches and then, disappear on Collision. Can't go to Rampage because that's not there anymore after the first, right? So, what the fuck? It's just like, fuck it. Just stay in ROH, kill it like you've been doing, make your money, and it be what it be.
But I think this is why I think ROH shouldn't have a TV deal, because they can't juggle one show. Mm-hmm. They don't, unless you can start getting it right on all levels. How many more shows do you need?
Well, that's the thing too. Like ROH, I mean, you might have heard different from what I know. Is not done by Tony solely. Is like Stokely and some other people. So it's kind of different. And it's cool because like you're seeing formations of new tag teams. You're seeing more work in the tag team division, which is cool, but it also sucks because Dustin and Sammy are still your tag champions and they ain't really doing shit. You still have Dustin, who is also the trios champion, who his other two people aren't there on the programming from what I've saw. So it's just a weird situation that they're in. And then like how you saying, Paul, you do give them a TV deal. Will that change anything? And I mean, that's a weird question, but we don't know.
I want to take a break from all of the AEW ROH talk, especially because if we talk any longer, we're gonna have to start a podcast called in honor of it. But
yeah, and real quick, the pay-per-view was decent. I mean, even the pre-show matches were good. That's all I say on that.
Okay. When we come back from this break, we will talk all of the WWE stuff this week, including NXT, which Cody was still at for some reason, right after this.
Ho, 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 and welcome back to Didn't Get All of It. I hope you enjoyed that fine break. We are back, though, and we are going to talk about some pro wrestling that happened on TV this week. Not all of it was live because it was the holidays, but I was live in attendance for the taping of NXT this week. If you listen to last week's show, I talked about last week's NXT show, but after that went off the air, they went ahead and filmed the Christmas Eve edition of NXT. So that was fun.
Another one.
Same setup in the Lowell Memorial Auditorium. They just brought out some Christmas trees and some Christmas lights. Spread some Christmas cheer. And I was cheering real loud for the first match because that was Cora Jade versus Stephanie McCool. And
oh, yeah.
I think this is my first time seeing Cora Jade live. And
did you have like a big popcorn bucket that you were holding on your lap the whole time?
I did have to hold some stuff on my lap. Yeah. Fantastic. She's great. Tune into our year-end awards later to hear me talk about her some more. But the match was fine. It was fine. Yeah.
Is she going to be your most disappointing because she hadn't wrestled all year?
No. What else happened on the show?
There was a big clusterfuck tag match that had some Santa Claus interference.
Yeah, that was. I think that was the main event. I'm just trying to remember. Oh, so my buddies and I that were at the show together, we were like, the night prior, WWE Raw was in Boston, and this was 30 minutes north of Boston, and I was like, I wonder if we're going to get any like surprise appearance from any main roster folks, just because WWE was in town. Like I thought there was a outside shot of like CM Punk showing up or Cody Rhodes or something, but no. Instead, we got Elba Fries and Isla Dawn, and we got what's her name, Caden Carter and Casey Catanzaro. Is that still her name? What's her name?
Nope. Katana Chance.
Katana Chance. Thank you.
Chance.
Okay.
You got her old name.
Yeah. Sorry. I still follow her on Instagram, and that's how I consume most of her. So
why did you back down there?
I don't know, but they were like in the crowd, like, I don't know, like 30 feet from where I was sitting with Santa Claus. And it was kind of funny to like watch them because they like came out and stood there, but I don't think they were like revealed on TV yet or anything. So they were just like standing there. And then
did they realize that Santa was Ridge Holland?
I don't know. I don't know if that was Ridge Holland at that point, to be honest.
That was different Santa. Dude. One of the helpers.
I don't know. It was a little confusing, but they like sat down at one point, and then a producer had to like run down there and be like, "No, you got to stand up." You could see they were like visibly annoyed. I don't know. Anyway, that was fun and games.
Because they're only so tall. That's why they had to stand up. Couldn't see them on camera.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, like clusterfuck women's tag match was fine. And then Lexus King and what's his name? Willie Regal's kid.
Yeah, him.
Dempsey.
Yes,
They
Charlie
had
Dempsey.
They had a boring ass match for the Heritage Cup. The Heritage Cup sucks. It is such a lame
really
gimmick.
hate it.
It's so boring. Everyone in the crowd, like no one cared. People were all around me being like, "This is stupid. This is confusing. Why are they taking breaks? This sucks." They need to fucking bury that gimmick.
I think the stipulations are weird enough, though. I know there's some people who are super into them, which is fine. The problem is no one gives a fuck about this trophy.
Right. Yeah.
So let's just
It's
stop
great.
it.
There was I don't know if it made it on TV, but there was a loud "Who's your daddy" chant during this match, and I thought that was kind of funny. And then the main event was super fun. Like, this was great. I had a blast watching this live. If you're bored and want to throw something on and get you in the holiday spirit, the tag team number one contenders 4-way was super fun. It was what I don't know if they ever told us what the name of the gimmick match was, like a Miracle on 34th Street fight or something, or a Christmas brawl or holiday.
I mean, it had Christmas shenanigans, so
Yeah, I don't know, whatever the gimmick was. Yeah, they used like candy canes and presents and things like that to beat people up with. It was a bunch of plunder, and they were hitting each other with Christmas trees. It was really fun. And then Ridge Holland revealed himself to be Santa Claus and attacked somebody, Hank and Tank, maybe.
All of them.
I don't really remember. I'm not gonna lie.
Sounds
I watched this like 2 weeks ago. I did not watch the broadcast back this week. So
this is a great teaser for how we're going to talk about the rest of WWE this week, because I'm just going to move us to SmackDown unless you got something else on NXT.
the only thing I was gonna say is I assume the show ended with like Ridge Holland on top or whatever, but to send us home happy,
I don't think it did.
Oh, really? Okay.
don't know.
Well, I don't know how
Impossible
it ended,
to care.
but they sent us home happy where like all the Italians beat up Ridge Holland and laid him out in the middle of the ring and like stuck a present on his head, and it was fun.
All right, that sounds fun.
Yeah.
SmackDown was very bad this week. I want to point out that Solo and the Bloodline took on a LA Knight, Apollo Crews, and Andrade for, I think, 40 minutes because it had 3 commercial breaks. And then at the end of it, commentary had to be like, Roman Reigns better watch out. Like, I'm sorry, if you can't steamroll this team of 3, no, the only people who should watch out is the fucking ratings, because ain't nobody tuning in for this shit. This was a dud. Total waste of LA Knight and Andrade, and shocked that even Apollo Crews even goes to wrestling here. But yikes, what a horrible match this was. And then they followed that up with an even worse segment of Braun Strowman on the Grayson Waller effect, which is bad.
They're still doing the Grayson Waller effect?
He's got new light up palm trees. They spent money on this. Him and Austin Theory are still like butting heads for some fucking reason. And then Braun comes out and says like nothing. He's like, "You want to run your mouth?" And like that's all he does.
Oh, hold on. We're not gonna just glance over the fact that Paul has an excellent Braun Strowman impression.
I debuted that on another podcast at one point.
He did.
That was really good. Can you do a whole promo, please?
I'd have to look up some content, but
just do the rest of this segment in Braun voice.
it's hard. He was interrupted by what's his butt? Carmelo, who is mad that he lost a match against him last. So they run this match back. Braun, who I think was dressed as Santa, which is great. Always good to make him look like a goober. This dude has Big Show written all over him at this point, which is crazy because when he was released, I remember talking about how crazy it was to release him because he could be your next Big Show. And here I am now eating my words. I did see Big Show dressed as Santa this week, though, which was great.
Did you watch Jingle All the Way?
I did. That was the only Christmas movie I watched.
Well,
Great movie. Holds up. So yeah, Braun lost.
When he was like the
by
most
count
over
out.
person in this company.
Yeah, he lost
That
by
was
count
cool.
out. Totally stinks. And then he chased Mello through the backstage area, who then jumped him with some crazy chair shots at one point. Who cares? Then, in a match that I was really excited to see, because I was on an airplane, I'm like, this could be fun. The show sucked, but this could be fun. Johnny Gargano against Alex Shelley, 1-on-1. Sounds pretty good on paper. And it was if you watched it on mute, because the entire match was Corey Graves putting himself over, guy who can't wrestle and is not cleared to wrestle.
Yet.
Both statements are very important here. But he's like, I've never tapped to Johnny Gargano. I'd never lay down for Johnny Gargano, like all this stuff. And then like he's talking shit about Alex Shelley and like how they all came up together. And he just shit on both guys the whole match. It was really, really terrible. And my big takeaway from this was this show should not be 3 hours if this is the show that they were putting out every single week. It's
But
really,
that's what
really
you want.
bad.
That's what you want.
I want them to do 3 hours of good show, which they do on Mondays. If this is going to be 3 hours of this, we are in big trouble on Friday nights.
The worst thing is that the show's gonna get worse when the Netflix move happens, because they're moving all their stars to Netflix.
Yeah.
Like
Probably.
Roman's probably gonna be moved to Raw. Punk's gonna stay there. They probably move Cody. Like SmackDown's only gonna get worse. And
Yeah, unless they stop the freaking the quote unquote freaking brand split.
I wonder, they're not going to stop the brand split. I don't think that's happening. They have way too many people to stop it. But I do wonder where like a Charlotte, a Becky, an Alexa, and who else? Like those three coming back will breathe some freshness into the women's roster, which
And
they
I'm fine
need.
with it. Because I mean,
I don't know where they fall.
I mean, we've seen it before when you have to work with less. I mean, you know, your cream rises to the top. You know, so I'm excited for it in a way, but that remains to be seen.
I think sending Gunther over to SmackDown and forcing him to carry that brand could probably be really good. But if you're filling the show with Grayson Waller effects and 40-minute Temu Bloodline matches, fuck, that's going to be really tough to get through.
I wonder when the last time there was a talk show on Raw. Because they don't do that a lot in the Triple H
Because
era.
wrestling talk shows fucking suck.
TV.
Yeah.
Like they've always been like, ooh, what if we're like Piper's Pit? The last time there was ever a good one was the Jericho one, and that was like when they originally did it, not the few times they've rehashed it. When you had the Jeritron 5000 and was antagonizing people, that was actually good. And then every other time was like, we need an excuse to talk. Just go out there with a microphone and talk.
Yeah. Not everything
Like
has
the
to
New
be
Day
a
did.
gimmick. Yeah, like New Day.
Not everything needs a talk show. Anyway, Raw. Ugh. Maybe one of the
be
worst.
3 hours to get
3
better.
hours long.
It does. This was clearly a everyone's got the holidays off show. The big things from this was EO advancing in the women's tournament, and I now think we're going to get EO versus Dakota Kai for the belt.
That would be cool.
I think it would be really cool. They can celebrate after accordingly, but the rest of the show is like totally forgettable. The one thing I cannot stress enough after 2024, I never want to see Drew McIntyre and Sami Zayn wrestle ever again. Like specifically each other. They can wrestle separately, but I find them to be somehow the most boring they can ever be together. And that's what they did on the show. They did it again. It went on.
They kind of have the same match every time.
What else can they do? Like, also, why go out there and kill yourself for this fucking match? It's never like anything. But I somehow I feel like they have no chemistry together, or they had chemistry together and we've seen it. I don't know. Because they're both good. The problem is I don't want to see them ever wrestle again. And then Solo Sikoa and his goons showed up and beat up Jey Uso and Sammy after the main event. So more bloodline dog shit. I can't. This was a bad week for WWE. And I assume it's going to get better. I hope it does.
Well, I mean,
especially
yeah,
if I
this
end
is the
up
go home show, right? No, Monday's the go home show.
Monday's the last 2-hour Raw before Netflix. One more night of having the worst theme song in Raw history. Which I might be at that show. I don't know. If I end up there, I hope
saw
they do
a quote.
a good one.
I saw a quote going around today, like of people saying that the first Raw on Netflix is going to be like a WrestleMania level event.
Well, it should be.
I mean, they booked a dome. They're advertising John Cena, Becky Lynch, and The Rock for this show.
Yeah.
So yes, it is going to be a WrestleMania level event. It'll also be the first opportunity to get like the most eyes on it all at once.
Right, because everyone has Netflix.
Yeah.
Do we have any title matches scheduled for that night?
I thought we did. You get Punk and Seth, so who cares?
The women's title is online, isn't it? Rhea and Liv.
Rhea and Liv is on the line,
so.
and then you're doing Dakota and
probably
all right, EO.
So
there's
also
that
culmination
and the Spicy Peppers match.
Spicy Peppers match.
Solo and Roman.
You know the show's just in a regular arena, right? It's called the Intuit Dome, but it's not like a stadium.
Is it really just a boring ass stadium?
Yeah, no, it's like the arena that the Clippers play in.
How can you call it a dome?
It
looks like I'm looking at pictures. That's pretty domey, if you ask me.
It's why it's called a dome, but it seats 18,000. It's not like
that's dome.
Take it to the dome.
That's a dome. 18,000 is also a little higher than most of their arenas, though.
Sure,
by about 4K.
I'm just saying it's not going to be like football stadium.
That's true. Okay, I did think we were looking at like 30 to 40, expecting, which was why tickets were still on sale. All right, well, we all learned something today. You can call something a dome, and it doesn't have to be that big. So next time you're talking to your girl saying you want some dome, doesn't have to be that big, folks.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was sad WWE week. Is there anything else to say here? Like,
I would like some dome, please.
I'm not even hyped for like Monday Raw because of this week was just so. I almost wish they took the week off, didn't tape anything, and just did a best of show.
The clip show.
Yeah, because then we could have skipped this podcast.
I mean, they could do the Seinfeld thing where they play Good Riddance over like half an hour of, the best of Raw.
Of every Raw that's ever happened.
Yeah.
That'd be fine. Anyway, good riddance to this week of WWE. When we come back from this break, we will talk about AEW Dynamite and preview World's End, which is this weekend. Welcome back to Didn't Get All of It.
Sorry. I was not expecting.
We are not talking about what we were talking about during the break. We were talking about AEW Dynamite, a show which I watched this week, much to many people's surprise, but I did want to see how they did the Hammerstein stuff, which I know they did last week, but I didn't watch it last week. So watched it this week. I am extremely disappointed with the paint job that was done to Hammerstein. It looks really ugly in there. Why did they paint it blue? I don't understand. It's ugly. But I will say, production-wise, this is probably the best AEW's ever looked. So maybe they should stick to going to cool small venues that they can light up real nice. Pretty eventful show.
I did see the collision that took place in Hammerstein. But
did you like it?
Most of it was pretty dull, but the opening match with Ricochet and Will Ospreay was pretty entertaining, despite all the stuff that's been happening with Ricochet this week.
Well, speaking of Will Ospreay, he did kick off this show against Brody King in a match where, wouldn't you believe it, they beat the fuck out of each other, and it pretty much ruled, actually.
Yeah.
They did a thing toward the end, though, where Brody King kicked out of everything a bunch, which I hate and will bring up again later. But Ospreay did pick up the win after a Stormbreaker to advance in the tournament.
He got that big man up in the air and did that move.
Yeah, he's a strong boy. He's lifted before.
Big strong boy. Unlike Adam Cole.
Yeah. Darby Allin and Ricochet have a match. I kind of didn't care because same reason people hate Ricochet. Who cares? It's Ricochet. I do like that they throw toilet paper at him now. That's great, and that should never stop.
Yeah.
And he's leaning into it at the very least.
From what I understand, though, is I think from the broadcast they edited some of that out.
They tried. It didn't work. This went to a time limit draw, which was offensive.
Mm-hmm.
Like Darby should have just beat him, but I know they're clearly doing something here because the time limit draw led to Ricochet actually advancing in the tournament.
Yes.
So there's that.
And then with the, I believe with the additional wins and everything that would happen on this card, it eliminated some people and created our final four.
Yep. Which we'll talk about momentarily. I don't need to recap the whole show. Another thing that happened here that is worth discussing is Daniel Garcia and Kyle Fletcher, which was the main event.
Mm-hmm.
People really, really loved this match. I am not one of those people. And I'll tell you why. First of all, started out really good. Clearly two talented, good guys wrestling here. But it did get to a point where both guys started doing things that they were not able to do, which led to a bunch of the finishes. But there's a couple things here that should have gotten us a show intro, and we did not get them. A couple being the brainbuster on the top rope, which was more of a fall off the ring.
Well, it was just lay you down safely so you don't kill yourself, rather than a brainbuster.
And there was another spot in the match too where it looked they're just biting off more than they could chew. And then it led to, like, in the middle of the match, they started teasing the finish with like a low blow and a kick out and like finishing moves and kick outs. And then the match just went on for another 5 minutes where they did more of that.
Yeah. Also, he took that brain buster on the hardest part of the ring, which is the apron.
That looked great. That was one thing they did a good job with, which led to a near fall. And then a low blow and a near fall, and then a finishing move and a near fall. And then we just kept wrestling. Yeah. And then we did a bunch of other stuff. And then the botched brainbuster on the turnbuckle did finish the match, which is crazy considering all the other shit that went into this. I wasn't blown away by it. I wish it was like 10 minutes shorter, and maybe they didn't try stuff they shouldn't have tried. But that led to Will Ospreay coming out in the worst outfit ever. This dude was wearing wrestling merch with a North Face bubble vest.
With no sleeves, right?
No sleeves on the vest. So we had a wrestling t-shirt, a bubble vest, and then some green Adidas pants and some sneakers. This is a man traveling outfit. Do not wear this on TV. What are you doing? Don't look bad. You think he got dressed by Kyle O'Reilly in the back. But this is setting up the World's End event, which is this Saturday. I think it's Saturday.
Yes.
Where Will Ospreay will take on Kyle Fletcher, a match that was awesome last time they did it. And glad they are doing that again in a semifinal match for the in the Continental Classic.
Yep.
I assume everyone's just equally as excited about this as they should be because it was the best match of their last pay-per-view. It should rock even more. Also happening is Okada against Ricochet. Where
this will probably rock a little less.
I think it'll rock a little less.
I think it'll be definitely rock less than the other one, but I think it'll be pretty cool. I don't know if they had any matches with each other. I mean, I know they both were in Japan at the same time, but I think Ricochet was like way down on the totem pole at that point in time, and I don't think he would ever got in the ring one-on-one with Okada. I could be wrong, but I don't recall.
Yeah, and then the winner of these two matches will face each other on the same show. So,
For all
are
the
they
marbles.
running back Ricochet and Ospreay here, or are we doing something interesting instead?
I would prefer something interesting.
My money, if you're gonna do it, would be Ospreay and Okada. Because I mean, they have, I think they have deep ties in New Japan. I mean, they fought over the world title and everything, and it was just like a big to do in the storyline over in that side of the world or whatever. Kind of to capture some of that magic again here in the States. I think it would be pretty cool. And then we got enough of Ricochet and Ospreay already. So, I mean, let Okada and Ospreay.
You can't recreate the original magic. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Speaking of things that have completely lost their magic, also on this card, MJF will be defending the Dance Dance Revolution deck against Adam Cole. Sorry, Dynamite Diamond Ring against Adam Cole, a thing everybody cares about. You might as well get the fucking trophy from NXT and put it in here too. I assume this will not be amazing because, frankly, both guys should be in the running for most disappointing wrestler of the year in our awards.
I mean, it's a match that has a lot of lore,
Sure.
and we love lore.
Sure.
Yeah, but the lore is no longer interesting.
Yeah, the lore is also like complicated and a little muddled at this point.
Yeah. It's turned into a sad thing that's continuing. Also on the show, Mariah May is defending the Women's World Championship in a Tijuana street fight against Thunder Rosa, which could be
Cody's
a surprisingly good match, or it could be a dud.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's a toss-up.
The hell's a Tijuana street fight, and why are they having it in New York?
I think it's a regular street fight, but they put it
hardcore street fight. I mean, if anything, with this company, I mean, it's tied to like hardcore or street fights or whatever it is. It is Thunder Rosa and Willow Nightingale at this point. They like the women that carry these things, and Britt Baker. If you want to get iconic for this company, you know, that's like their thing.
Oh, I'm sorry. The show's in Florida. I thought it was in New York.
Oh, it's in Florida? Okay.
Yeah. But that is also still not Tijuana. So still don't know why it's called that.
I mean, it's down south.
Another thing on this card, allegedly, is Takeshita against Powerhouse Hobbs for the International Championship.
For the international. Hell yeah. I hope Takeshita just... I hope Takeshita steamrolls his ass because on January 4th, we have Wrestle Kingdom. And Takeshita is going up against Shingo Takagi for the never openweight title. I mean, he could drop the title here potentially, but he still has a title opportunity in New Japan on January 4th for Wrestle Kingdom. But if he does retain here, it'll be, from what we understand, we still kind of muddling through the thing from what we were told is winner take all in a sense. Because if Takeshita wins, he'll be a double champion. He'll be the never openweight title holder and the international title holder. But if he loses, they talked about it, but it wasn't really clear. So we're still trying to figure it out. He might just take Takeshita belt as well. Now, the next night, we have AEW, the big cross-promotion show, Wrestle Dynasty, on January 5th. The winner of that match between Takeshita and Shingo will go on to face Tomohiro Ishii for whatever titles whoever has, you know. It's just like you fighting the winner of this match. So it's leading to some interesting shit. It can be Takeshita takes home 2 titles and he defends the next night, or he takes home 1 title or no titles. I mean, it's just going to be all kinds of shit. And then on the 6th, there's another goddamn show. So Takeshita is out there from World's End all the way up until January 6th in Japan, just wrestling his ass off, and I fucking love it.
Well, I'm glad you're excited about that. Another thing on the card, which was pretty solid last time, Mercedes Moné and Chris Statlander for the AEW TBS Championship will also be happening.
On the side, how did you feel about the match between her and Penelope Ford? Did anybody watch that?
Wait, between Mercedes
Statlander
or Statlander?
Statlander.
Yeah, that was on Collision, wasn't it?
I think so.
Her and Penelope? Yeah, it was all right.
Pretty cool stuff. Yeah, not too crazy, but pretty good.
Speaking of not too crazy and also not pretty good, Jon Moxley will be defending the AEW World Championship against Orange Cassidy, Hangman Adam Page, and Jay White in a fatal 4-way match, which they previewed with a horrendously nonsensical promo from Jon Moxley to close out Dynamite.
Yeah, I didn't even listen to that. I just watched his mannerisms on mute.
It's so bad. I assume he's winning here. I would take the title off him immediately.
So, like,
I don't even care who you put it on.
Yeah, I'm just saying, any of the three I don't have a problem with because it can lead to something else. But if Moxley retains, I mean, we got to assume that it's through shenanigans, and do we get some kind of vindication or clarification or explanation of what the fuck is all this is going on?
I don't think so.
I don't think that's coming at all.
I think this has big potential to like be an entertaining match, like have some big moments, and then completely shit the bed by the end. That's usually how these have been going with these guys.
So it has the potential to be the exploding barbed wire death match.
Yeah.
All that pomp and circumstance match was good, and then the ending was like,
and then there'll be some bullshit like finish, and then like a big beatdown to go to credits.
Maybe you get the Young Bucks returning here to fight for the honor of AEW, because remember they left when they were dorks.
They should be in Japan by now, unless they're gonna do something then fly out, because they're gonna be there for Wrestle Dynasty.
Well, I assume somebody has to win the title off Moxley to honor and restore
to have anything happen.
Restore whatever AEW was before he won the title. I think it was the same, but I think we're not done with this.
Yeah, I mean, because this has been on its own island or whatever, and I don't think it had too much interaction with nothing else that's going on. And then it's kind of like been diffused because of the Continental Classic and whatnot. We had some other outlet to set our gaze upon other than this goofy shit.
Yeah, it's not great, but the card looks pretty solid otherwise. If you're watching this Saturday, I think you'll be quite happy.
Mm-hmm. It looks more solid than last year's World's End, which I remind you was bad.
Yeah. I kind of want the thing just for shenanigans and bullshit sake. And, I don't give a fuck if it happens or not. The thing that I said, way back in the yesteryears of when this MJF Adam Cole thing started, that Matt Taven and all them just turn on Cole and go with MJF.
I think that's happening.
Yeah.
I absolutely think that's happening.
So let's do that then.
Or not. You could just not do that.
Or not. Yeah.
That sounds bad too, though.
I know. Matt Taven and Mike Bennett still have a job.
There's some really nice stuff on this card that will hide the blemishes for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Does anyone else have anything they would like to talk about? Maybe.
I would like to talk about this. We're getting some live footage from the MSG event from WWE that's happening tonight. And it appears that between a cage match involving Damian Priest, CM Punk entered the ring in a towel and shower cap to save him.
Yep, I'm watching that. This is very funny.
Yeah.
This man came out for the save with no clothes on. Does he have trunks on under it? It's really hard to tell. He's getting beat down by Dominic and Ludwig Kaiser and running the ropes in a towel and shower cap.
Bullshit.
How zany. And people hate this guy. How could you?
I could tell you why.
That's all right. I don't need to hear it.
See?
Well, if there's nothing else, I think we can say, folks, we didn't get all of it. But we will try again next week. So thank you for joining us. Stay tuned for the Didn't Get All of It Year End Awards. Best of coming to your feed soon. Worst of coming to your Patreon soon. 2024 Year in Review coming to your Patreon soon. All of those things, hit up fatal4pod.com for more of the links to get all that stuff. And I think that's it for myself and the rest of the Fatal Four, Happy New Year if it's your New Year.
You've been listening to a Fatal 4 podcast. Subscribe today wherever you get your podcasts and visit fatal4pod.com for more episodes, merchandise, and info on the Patreon.